Yeah. First of all, with Alex, I don't have any real information about what his ankle's going to look like. So that's not something that was talked about in the locker room there. Credit Creighton. I thought the difference in the game was what we did, the job we wanted to do on Kalkbrenner. We made it tough on him. And I thought you did as good a job on Ashworth as you can, two of the best players in the league. And at a time, I think where we lost the game was when we were doing a great job on them. And then obviously Neal was the difference in the game. And Trout, Seven. Yeah, so, we two guys, and that rarely happens on the road where, two guys that are averaging a combined 15 points, score a combined 35. That's something that generally would happen to you, when you're on the road versus a team. So just in that first half when we were doing a great job on Kalkbrenner, doing a great job on Ashworth, we had a window there where we really should have been up 6 to 8 points, 10 points at halftime. But Neal killed us and Trout killed us, and just the theme of our season. We're obviously we're not we're not who we've been. I'm not sure if Liam when he returns is going to be able to fix the lack of tenacity. The lack of tenacity that we have right now. Coaches and players as a program, we're a shell of ourselves. From a defensive standpoint, we've only won the rebounding battle twice in Big East games, and the bar is so low for us defensively. We're just not a tenacious enough team. Obviously, long winning streak at home goes out the window. But this team wasn't responsible for that, for those long winning streaks. It's the tenacious, the tenacious teams that were elite defensively, elite rebounding teams, that played with incredible passion and intensity. Those are the teams that, built that long winning streak. We're just a good team. We're a good, top 20, top 25 team, but we're obviously this current version of us, the defense and the rebounding, make us nothing like we've been.
Questions with the mic from one of these guys? There first.
Yeah, Dan, with Neal, did it just come down to, you tried a few different guys on him, just kind of not just poor one-on-one defense more than anything?
Yeah, poor one-on-one defense. You're putting a lot of your attention into Ashworth and into Kalkbrenner, and then we've seen Neal do this. Neal did this Villanova at home. Maybe it was when he went off and had this type of a game. But there's things in scouting report where Luke and Kamani, I think, are as good in the country, if not as good as anyone in terms of putting together defensive game plans, and how we just let him kept getting his right hand. How you let a dominant righty driver and a guy that loves to go right just continue to drive the ball right. It's a lack of attention to detail, and it's a lack of will and.
Dan, can you, at this stage of the season, can you coach the tenacity and the will into this team, or is it too late for that?
There are a lot. I've said this before. There are great guys in there. These guys are great, and they're awesome on campus and on the airplanes and in the restaurants, and which is great. That's how you want to be. But then when you take the court, switch has to flip, and you have to become a maniacal, ruthless, relentless warrior, competitor, life or death urgency to rebound the ball and win loose balls, and yeah, I mean, but we've been fortunate, and you know, listen, we're obviously the roster's flipped. I mean, it's about being like a warrior, an incredible competitor.
Dan, as you got to know this team's collective personality over the months, is that an issue you thought might come up with this team, or is this a surprise to you?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it. You know, I've spoken to the team through you guys in the media. You know, you know, you know, there's a hunger. You know, like there's a hunger that you have to have when you take the court. You know, there's this wild desire that you have to have where you will not be denied, and where you're going to get over a screen and you're going to contest the shot and you're going to track down a loose ball, and you're going to give a warrior's effort. And you know, we've certainly, that's not who we've been. I mean, we haven't been that. You know, you don't. You know, we'll drop again in defense here, and you know, we'll drop more. You know, I don't know what that means. We'll be a top 125 defense. You know, we'll stay. We'll stay as a top 5 offense. But you know, teams with a top 5 offense and aren't a good rebounding team and are not a good defensive team. You know, they're soft teams. They're not tough teams. So, you know, maybe for me, it's I'll dial my intensity up even more in practice. I'll bring more fire to the sidelines, and I just think that the team it just doesn't reflect, you know, who we've been. We haven't been able to turn these, like, you know, talented, nice guys into, you know, fierce, savage competitors.
Coach, results-wise, we're only halfway through January, but it feels somewhat similar to the January that this team had in 2023.
I still have some January left, so please don't put that on me.
I won't, don't worry.
We're only, I mean, I went like 2-6 in January, right? 2 years ago? Or 2, what are we in January right now?
2 losses, 3 and 2.
3 and 2? All right, so you're being overly negative about January. I made up with January last year too, so. All right, keep going, sorry.
The point that I'm trying to make, does this current situation that you're facing, does it feel at all similar to the January 23 situation?
I would say no, just because we were so dominant in the non-conference. You know, I mean, we destroyed people in November and December. And then we knew we had a dominant team, and it was like the perfect storm of events where, I mean, when we've shown that, you know, we're not who we've been with the way we guarded in Maui, the way we played in Maui, you know, the way we rebounded in Maui, you know, our inability, you know, at Georgetown up 23 to end up closing the game in the last 7 minutes, winning by 8. Like, we've shown tons of vulnerabilities that our past teams have not shown. I've said this for a couple weeks since Liam went down. I think if we could find enough ways to win games while Liam is out here and not get totally demoralized, you know, like that January, you know, a couple of years back, you know, when we reinsert him into the lineup. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league, and on a team that needs its best players on the court, he would make a huge difference if he's on the court for 35 minutes. He affects our rebounding, he affects our clutch play down the stretch. He plays with swagger that not a lot of players had on the court today. You know, he's one of our highest usage people, getting in the paint and creating. So, I mean, we're you know, we've got to find a way just to try to win enough of these games. You know, the Butler game coming up, just gut these games out until he gets back, and then just hope we can get some consistency out of a Jaylin Stewart. He's had these 14-point games that he's followed up with a 0. You know, he can't, you know, he's got to stay consistent. You know, he gets 14 every game, you know, but he did some great things for us out there today. You know, solo balls, some of the development of these people. You know, we've got a shot when we get him back. But my fear is that we're such a weak, we're such a kind of a soft team. And now the teams that take the court with us, we've lost that aura that we've had when we've taken the court the last couple of years, where they see a little bit of it on film when they prepare for us and saying these guys aren't as vicious and nasty. And then they share the court with us, and then they feel it as well, and that's become a problem.
What needs to change for Alex to be able to impact the game more early on, only 3 shots in the first half, and then what was Creighton doing to kind of keep you guys off the 3-point line first?
Well, it's what they do, and that's the luxury of Kalkbrenner. He impacts the game defensively the way that Donovan would impact the game defensively for us, where he allows you to do things in ball screen defense and with 3-point line defense that is rare. So, but you know, Alex, he should not have taken 3 shots at halftime. He should have taken, you know, 16 to 18 shots in this game today. There were, you know, there were probably, even with Kalkbrenner in that deep drop, you know, those floaters and those short touch shots at the logo were available for him, even though they were chasing him over the top of the pins. So, you know, Alex has got to, he's just got to fire away in these games. I mean, he should have went, you know, 5 for 17 today and just have no regrets about just letting it rip.
Up here.
Dan, if you can do it without getting yourself in trouble on the foul called against Haas, I mean, did you clearly see him shooting the ball at that point?
I didn't really see it, and you know, obviously you're mad in the moment because you just, you know, you're trying to scratch out a game, but you know, there were the officials. I mean, you know, James is a great ref, Clock, and Matt. I mean, you know, I was more disappointed. I like watch games, and like they're calling like no illegal screens in college, you know, and you know, like I watch these games, I see illegal screens happening, you know, all over the place. That'd be my only thing is you know, like they called 2 illegal screens versus us today. I watch college games and they're not calling travels, they're not calling illegal screens, and we got 2 illegal screens called against us in a game. You know, and then we get held a lot, obviously, while we're moving without the ball. So if we get held and now, you know, like we're maybe giving a little bit of a hip on a screen that we're getting held before we get there, I mean, those things. But today, I mean, had nothing to do with those guys. I mean, you know, the officiating that we've had stateside this year has been excellent, and that's why, you know, I think, you know, my demeanor has been what it's been in every game that hasn't been played.
Coaches talked a lot this year about you guys just not being tough enough and nasty enough, and today he actually called you guys soft defensively. I mean, how does a player react to hearing something like that?
Yeah, he's absolutely right. From top down, we just haven't been able to do the hard things well, like rebounding the ball, on the defensive end, guarding the ball, digging loose balls out. Just haven't been able to do so this year.
Jaylin, you had a nice game out there. You've had some nice efforts here in periodically throughout the year, but then, like Coach was saying, you back it up maybe with not a great game. How do you just get more consistent in your game?
Yeah, I think it all just starts in practice with preparation. Just holding myself accountable for every little thing, just giving it my all every day, like on and off the court. I feel like you just gotta have that professionalism about us, and I feel like some of us just aren't serious right now. I think as a whole, we just gotta get more serious.
You and Alex Sampson, you were on the two teams that had that tenacity and had those qualities that the coach was talking about. How do you kind of pull that back and instill that into this team with still a lot of games to go?
Yeah, well, I would just say I think we need to do a better job as the leaders of the team, being a great example of doing it each and every day, starting with me, and just trying to get guys to understand how hard it is to win a game in the Big East, how hard it is to win a game in college. We have to understand that, and we have to attack that. Like it's really hard to do.
The 3-point at the very end of the game, and for that matter, even in the first half. You think those were situations where you were fouled during the shot?
I mean, the refs, they're gonna call what they call. They did a great job today. Those missed calls are not the reason why we lost the game. So at this point, it doesn't matter.